QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop, OneNote presentation, Accounts Payable Aging Reports. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. If you have access to OneNote, would like to follow along, icon left-hand side, topic introductions 4060, Accounts Payable Aging Reports. Also take a look at the immersive reader tool, topic introductions in the text area as well. Same name, same number, but with transcripts. Transcripts that can be translated into multiple languages, either listened to or read in them. Same name and number as presentations. Two topic introductions designed to give an introduction to the topic, provide screenshots, links where applicable, give accounting background to complement the presentations, and can be used to follow along with the presentations if you don't have access to the software at that time. Closing the icon on the left-hand side, we're looking at the accounts payables, which are going to be supporting the balance sheet accounts on the accounts payable or of the accounts payable. Looking at subsidiary reports, generally breaking this account out by vendor who we owe the money to. If we double click on the accounts payable, we get to, in essence, an accounts payable general ledger account called a transaction by account report, breaking this out information out by date, which is great, but doesn't give us the total information we need because we also need it by who we owe it to by vendor. So if we go to the report sender and we go to the vendors and payables, we've got the reports that in essence support the balance sheet account of accounts payable. We've got the vendor balance summary, the vendor balance detail here. First looking at the vendor balance summary, a classic kind of subsidiary ledger type of report, breaking out the accounts payable by who we owe the money to. $26,636.92 should add up or tie out to the balance sheet. Note that that type of information can also be found on the accounts payable or the vendor center as well oftentimes. So although it's a classic sub-report, you might first go in practice to the vendor center and look at the aging reports, most likely in the reports oftentimes. So then we're going to take a look at the vendor balance detail, breaking the same information out by vendor, but also giving the detail, which will typically include bills and then the pay bill type of forms, having each of the vendors going up with a bill and then back down when we pay it off with the pay bill type form. Now we're looking at the AP aging summary report. This is breaking this out, looking similar to the AR aging summary report, giving us the current activity, the 1 to 30, the 31 to 60, the 61 to 90, allowing us to sort this information by how old they are. This is some added information in a common report if you're working in accounts payable or the accounts payable department or on accounts payable as a bookkeeper. Then we have the AP aging detail, breaking this information out. Now we've got the bills on the type. Here's the 1 to 30 with the bills being the current area up top. Now we've got the standard in terms of the report center. We're looking at the unpaid bills detail. So now we've got the information and a report that are the bills that have not yet been paid. The bills in essence being the reports that increase the accounts payable. If they have not yet been paid, you would think they would be constituting what is in the accounts payable amount on the balance sheet. Note that that report, although good, is not often going to be used oftentimes in internal purposes, because if you go to the vendor center, you can sort the vendors by the outstanding balances here if you so choose. You can also go to the transaction side and look at the outstanding bills and sort by the outstanding bills there if you so choose as well. We also have then the transaction list by vendor, so we can list out the transactions by vendor. So we got the vendors and the transaction list related to them. This will include the bills as well as the other kind of activity, meaning we have the bills, we got the pay bills, which are the increase and decrease to the accounts payable, but we also have the other items like the checks, which may not be a check that paid off the accounts payable, but just a check that went to that particular vendor, and credit card activity in there as well. Then we have the 1099 reports, which are important reports. If you have to process 1099s, you'd have to set up the 1099 information. Typically, 1099s need to be going out to people that are not incorporated, vendors that are not incorporated, oftentimes sole proprietorships. You could set up the 1099s and then be able to run these reports, which will help you to complete your obligations at the end of the period to give the 1099 reports for tax obligations.